Good morning, everybody. Well, it's morning while I'm recording this, Saturday morning, actually. I'm about to take off for a football game in Davenport, so I figured I'd hurry up and get the summary out because we drop the next episode tomorrow. Colton was supposed to join me, but I think he might have had a little bit too much fun last night, so I'm going to go ahead and knock the summary out myself. The next episode, we have a gentleman by the name of Mike Gooding on, and boy, does this guy know so much about roofs. He brings a ton of knowledge to the table, and I swear this guy knows every component of the roof, and he can probably tell you anything you need to know if this episode doesn't cover it already. So I hope you guys tune in, take a listen, and just keep liking it and sharing it and subscribing to it. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate everything that you're doing and helping us along the way. So let us know if you need anything and what you guys want to change or keep going. All right, thanks. Have a good rest of your day.
Welcome to the Random Real Estate Podcast with your hosts, Randon Hill and Colton Jordan, where anything real estate related could be the topic.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode number 3 of the Random Real Estate Podcast. With everything going on in our recent year, we figured it would be beneficial to our listeners to bring someone on in the roofing industry. This gentleman goes by the name of Mike Gooding. Mike, we appreciate the time that you took to do this for us. Now go ahead and tell them what you bring to the table, my man.
Thanks for having me. I just wanted to share today. I know homeowners have a lot of questions. We had some storm events last year that really kind of turned our industry on the ear, and wanted to let them know about our relationship with Recon Roofing, being one of our certified contractors, and what that means to the homeowner.
Love it. Yeah, and I wanted to bring Mike on just because for probably the majority of what I talk about is really more of like the general contracting side. And Mike's really going to get into the specifics of the material that we use and, why choose this shingle and also things to look for. So with him being more of that niche practice, it's always nice to be able to sit down and every time I've either sat down on a training with him, he's taught us a lot. So we wanted to bring Mike in because this is a different view. And I think it's going to be super helpful for homeowners to know exactly what's going on top of their roof. So it'll be good.
It's really important that homeowners understand the benefits of working with a certified contractor like Recon Roofing. The certification process, it's a limited club. We only allow 5% of contractors in each market to be certified. So it's not like everybody can be certified if they want to be. That really sets them apart. There's a vetting process they have to go through to be approved to be certified with GAF. We check them out with the Better Business Bureau and make sure they're paying their bills to their distributors. And we require that they engage in our training. There's a lot of expectations as far as from a sales and installation side of things that they're meeting the requirements for to be a GAF certified contractor. They have to be in business for at least 3 years. No bankruptcies, right? All the things that could potentially put a customer in a bad spot, right? So we're taking care of all those concerns for them so they can choose a certified contractor like Recon with confidence and peace of mind with their decision.
What does it mean to be GAF certified?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, only a select group can be certified, but by going through that vetting process and receiving the certification from GAF, it allows the contractor access to a lot of tools to help them be a better contractor from a training standpoint, from a management standpoint, and then making sure their installers are trained every year. We have a pro field guide that their installers take a test every year to make sure that they're installing the roofs the way GF wants them installed. It allows the sales side of the company to then offer a better warranty. The standard warranty is for a homeowner, for a single family home, is lifetime with 10 years non-prorated or full coverage. But it doesn't include the tear-off labor. It's installation labor only. And a lot of people aren't aware of that. And every manufacturer's base warranty is like that, right? So being able to be certified allows them to offer that same lifetime warranty, but with 50 years and tear-off labor included. So it's a huge benefit to the homeowner to know that it's peace of mind. We even take a step beyond, because other manufacturers have similar programs, but we take a step above those levels in that we put an inflation escalator on our warranty values. So if they sell that roof for $12,000 today and they filed the System Plus warranty, we start adding value to that warranty so that there's a problem 10, 15, even 20 years down the road, we're going to replace that roof at the cost of that day instead of what it cost when it went on. So that's real peace of mind because, as we know, roofing prices go up, right? Labor costs go up, material costs go up every year. So this is a great peace of mind for the homeowner to know that they're working with a contractor that's going to put them in a good spot if they ever have a problem. The warranty is fully transferable, so it benefits the homeowner when they go to resell their home. Longest in the industry, and no charge to transfer.
I think that's huge too. It's like almost getting a diploma, right? You can take it with you. As long as you keep paying, even if you don't pay your bills, you still get it, right? But I think the nice thing, and I've heard some bad stories of, because a lot of people, as Randon knows, the real estate market is just booming. I mean, nothing stays on the market very long, and with that, obviously, you're transferring, from one house to the other. And there's been a couple where they thought, they had a warranty that could be, transferred, and it's kind of held up the process or made them feel like they, weren't going to sell the house because of this. And, obviously with the trade show, people are looking at houses in a different way. So the relationship with you guys is huge because when I do have a blow off or I do need more of a, understanding of, why is this so important to have? And, if a customer has a question specifically between this brand and another, I have a slew of, things that I can just refer back to because of our relationship and, the training that we have to go through. I know that this winter was huge. I learned more about the new shingles than I ever, could imagine, trying to look up online. So it's, I don't know, peace of mind and definitely a quality that goes above and beyond. And I know that's big for Randon when he's selling a house is, what are some of the, pros and cons? And if you can have more pros and cons, obviously that helps a lot, especially with the products.
Colton makes a good point there. As far as the protection the customer gets, we took another step forward with our warranty, which was already the industry's strongest, and added a no limit wind warranty on our HDZ and American Harvest shingles. HDZ is our number one selling shingle. We sell more shingles than the next two competitors combined, and HDZ is our flagship product. And 2 years ago, we redesigned the shingle and added some new technology to it that allowed us to change the warranty. All our warranties at GF are driven by the technology of the shingle. So what we did 2 years ago was we changed the way the shingle is constructed so it would perform better in high wind situations. We tested the HDZ at 150 miles per hour for 2.5 hours sustained winds, and the shingles don't blow off. But should they ever blow off, the peace of mind for the contractor and the homeowner both is that we will pay recon to go out and replace those shingles up to it kind of covers the deductible, right? So covering deductible is a bad thing when it comes to insurance claims. It's fraud by the homeowner if the contractor covers the deductible. A lot of homeowners don't know that. They'll ask the contractor, "Hey, can you cover my deductible?" The other guy's going to do that, right? You don't want to do that. So what we've done is we've stepped in and provided warranty that will fill that gap because most wind claims are less than the customer's deductible. So their insurance doesn't really help them out there, right? They can call their agent and file a claim. Then their agents can come back and say, well, your deductible's $2,000 and your wind claim's $1,800, right? So it's less than your deductible. With the HDZ, they would file a claim with us instead of with their insurance company, and we would pay recon to go out and replace the shingles, make that customer's roof whole. So it's a great advantage. It's part of the plus warranty that recon can offer because they're certified with this.
That's funny that you say that about offering to pay the deductible, because before I met Colton, he knows that I had just had my roof replaced from the hailstorm, and that was one of their selling features. I'm not going to throw the company under the bus or say any names, but that was kind of what they said to get me to go with
Well,
them.
and see, the contractor's really, yeah, the contractor's not really in the wrong by doing it. It's the homeowner is basically committing fraud against their insurance company by not paying the deductible, because the contract of a policy with the insurance company is that they will make the customer whole if the customer pays their deductible, right? And so this is a way that it doesn't put the customer in the position of committing fraud against their insurance company. It doesn't put Recon in the bad spot of being the only guy that won't cover the deductible, right? It's a win-win for everybody, and no one else has a no limit wind warranty. And we're serious when we say no limit. That means if there's a tornado and your shingles blow off, we're going to cover it.
That is amazing. Okay, so I guess some of our listeners probably aren't aware of all the components of a roof. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of breaking down them and then explaining, since you handle with mainly shingles, just explain kind of what they do and why they're important.
Sure. Shingles protect the shingles and the underlayments that are installed before the shingles are put down, protect everything you own and your family, right? So it's a really important decision. And a lot of people in our industry are price driven, and that's pretty common with the homeowners too, is like they're always trying to get the lowest price. But lowest price isn't always the best solution, right? And not all shingles are created equally. The technology and how a shingle is built varies from one manufacturer to another. And the advanced protection technologies in all of our shingles, in addition to the technology upgrades we made with the HDZ, really set us apart from our competition. So not all shingles are created equally. Don't believe that story. And Colton can go into the details, the homeowners, on exactly how the construction of the shingle, again, drives the better warranty protection for the homeowner. Pieces, yeah, we've got some really cool selling tools that we give our guys. We've got a flip chart, basically, where we walk the customer through the roofing process, right? From the roof deck all the way up to the shingles being installed. So we provide these tools to reinforce the process, right? And using the system.
Because there's a lot
back to
going
that
on.
price thing. When they're driven by price, they'll use someone else's accessories or parts of the roofing system, right? What they don't understand when they do that is that those things aren't covered under the manufacturer's shingle warranty. Whereas if you use all 5 components of the roofing assembly, in addition to the shingles, it's all covered under the warranty. A lot of guys do that to cut corners and lower costs, so they look like they're less expensive, but really it's putting the homeowner in a bad spot. So to walk you through roofing assembly, right? It's critical to tear the roof off down to the roof deck. The reason that that's important is because you need to inspect the roof deck to make sure that the integrity of the deck is good, that it was nailed properly, that you don't have issues between the spacing between the deck sheet, the sheets of the deck, and then you start at the eave or down at the gutter, right? That's where you start installing your roofing. And the first thing you're going to put on is ice and water membrane or leak barrier. People call it different things, but it's really important. It's got a sticky back on it. It's a 3-foot wide roll, and it sticks right down to the roof deck. And unfortunately, in our industry, it's the most expensive item in the roofing system. A lot of guys want to not do it, right?
Cut corners,
right? They're going to cut that corner.
The worst place you could.
Some guys don't use it at all, right? I've seen jobs going on where they're not putting ice and water on the job at all, right? Or they only do one roll of it. And the building code requires that you do 24 inches up the roof deck inside the warm wall, which means from the inside of the room. So if I put my hand on the inside of my wall and ran it up through the roof, that's where I start measuring my 24 inches. So unless the home has no overhangs at all, even in that situation, they're going to need more than one course or one row of the ice and water along the eaves of the roof, or along the edge of the roof to hit code. If you don't do your roof to code, insurance companies can actually cancel your insurance policy. That's the homeowner's obligation to be insured, is to provide a roof that's done to building code, right? And so that's not our code, that's building code, right? International building code.
And I think something to add there too, Mike, would be that something to add, yeah, well, and the other thing too with the ice and water is that is a place where people cut corners because it is the most expensive. And also a lot of people that I've met with and spoke about their coverage, they're like, "Well, can we get our roof done next week?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I need to, iron out a few things with insurance to get you covered for like certain things like ice and water." And they're like, "What's that?" And with that being an area that people are cutting corners, that's scary because especially in the Midwest, the amount of ice dams people were getting last year. I mean, this was a nasty winter. That's protecting your roof and the inside of your home. And if you don't have that, I mean, all that snow is sitting on there, all year round. And if you don't have a roof rake or you're not staying on top of that, that ice and water there is built to obviously keep you dry. And that's why code is involved. And if you're not bringing it up to code, that should obviously raise a red flag. And their case in point, that's where people are cutting corners. And like you said, the cheapest isn't always the best in this industry. And personally, I don't think if you are the cheapest and that's your selling point, I just don't know if that's the right way to go about it, at least in the trades industry.
You can pay me now or you can pay me later, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yep, it makes way more sense for the homeowner to pay a little bit more to do it right the first time, so they don't have ongoing costs, not just to repair the roof, but think about it. If it's not done right and water gets up under the roof and there's not enough ice and water there to protect their home, now you got interior damage, right? Now you got that iced tea colored stain on the ceiling, and or gets down the sidewall and can damage insulation. It can cause mold growth in the home. All these negative things that can happen for the homeowner just because the roof wasn't done right, right? To save a few dollars on the cost of the roof, it just doesn't make sense.
You should talk about the Recon felt that we use and upgraded this year.
You're using the felt buster.
Yep. Our crews love it too.
Are you using Tiger Paw?
No. So we actually made Recon custom branded felt, and we actually,
you did?
yeah, we actually upgraded to the felt that actually allows our crews to have a little more safety and traction. And it's actually, I want to say it's a 30, I think it's 30 pound, I believe, and it has been a huge upsell, and it's for free. So it is an upgrade, and we do it for free. But that felt very similar, to Tiger Paw, but it's Recon custom branded, and we want to make sure our crews are safe too, because that's when sometimes you cut corners too, right? When conditions suck. So I think that's the biggest upgrade that you could probably give too, is that underlayment, because first it's the decking, then you've got your ice and water, and then obviously you have your paper. So that's something I wanted everywhere.
Yeah, and the felt goes, the synthetic felt goes everywhere that the ice and water doesn't go. It covers the whole rest of the deck. You know, then you've got your edge metals.
What's your positives on good and bad felt? I mean, do you have one that you prefer over the other?
Tiger Paw's my favorite. It's not the most expensive. It's middle of the road, but it's got a really unique feature to it. When when we're in our homes, when we cook or do laundry or take a shower, we create moisture, right? And that moisture rises up into the attic, and what doesn't get ventilated out actually gets on that roof deck, on the underneath of the roof deck, and it can cause the roof deck to be damaged, cause mold growth. It actually freeze and thaw in the winter and leak from inside the roof, and you get that stain on the ceiling. You think your roof's leaking. It's actually moisture in the attic that's not getting out. And so that's the benefit of Tiger Paw. Actually will absorb that moisture from the roof deck and dry it out in the membrane. That's a unique feature to GAF. It's not something that's out there in the industry for everyone. So it's a way, again, for Recon to take another step that better protects the homeowner. Then the next step in the roofing assembly would be your metal edges. You want to put drip edge at the gutters, because that channels the water down into the gutter, helps prevent it from getting up underneath the shingle. And then you want to put it on the rakes or the edges of the roofs, because that's where wind wants to try to drive and pull the shingle off or drive water under it. The next component is your starter shingle. There are a lot of companies will take old shingles and cut them off and try to use that as starter. It doesn't have a seal to it, So it doesn't really serve the purpose of what starter shingles do, which is to seal the roof edge where the wind and water wants to get in. And so Recon always uses our Pro Start starter with their timber. From there, now you're ready to start putting some shingles down, right? So you install your shingles. Um, the HDZ shingles really, really easy to install in that we have a really wide nailing area called the strike zone that allows the installers to get the nails where they belong, right? Which was really a challenge in our industry. We had a study done when we launched HDZ, and we found out that across the country, all brands, nails get where they belong about 55% of the time. So just barely nails end up where they belong across our industry. So when we went to the wider nail zone, it allowed us to get to almost 100%, 99.9 accuracy of nail placement. So if the nails go where they belong, the shingle's less likely to blow off. Our HDZ also has a unique feature in that the sealant, which is what keeps it on the roof, the sealant in the nails is what keeps a shingle on the roof. The sealant actually seals down to that strike zone we were talking about, and it's the only asphalt bond in the industry. It's an incredibly strong bond that helps with the uplift performance of our shingle. Wind wants to suck the shingles right up off the roof. This helps prevent that from happening. So the next step after your shingles is your ventilation. So you're looking at putting ridge vents, kind of it's the cat's meow in our industry now, right? That's an old timer term, but everybody likes ridge vent, right? Because about 20 years ago, new construction started using ridge venting, and it's basically just a vent that goes on top of the roof, right? It allows that hot, moist air in the attic to get out. Right? It's really important to have a balanced ventilation system. So we give to all our contractors, including Recon, we give a ventilation calculator that they run to make sure there's a balanced ventilation system so the roof lasts as long as it can and it reduces the moisture in the home. Ridge venting is just one option, though. You see the roof vents on the back of a house. You see those that sometimes that's the better way to do it, depending on the architectural situation of the home. Ventilation and ice and water are probably the two most critical parts of the roofing system. And then once you get your ventilation on, the last piece is ridge cap shingles, and there's a big difference in those. The hips and the ridges on a roof require a shingle to cap off those edges, right? So Seal Ridge is our entry level product, which a lot of roofers use. It's got a 70 mile per hour wind warranty with it, and the warranty is good for 5 years. We also offer a premium version of that called TimberTex. TimberTex is warranted for 15 years, so 3 times as long, and it's a 110 mile per hour wind warranty, so 40 mile per hour stronger wind warranty. That's certainly an option for the homeowner, right? So helping the homeowner understand their options is a consultative sales approach, right? Helping them make an educated, informed decision is really important. And Recon does a nice job communicating that to the homeowner. It's not always about a race to the bottom on price.
Yeah, and I think I've told Randon this. I work with a lot of his connections in the industry, and they flip houses. And with our suppliers and who we know, I always told them, we are a premium brand because we do go that extra mile because we believe that it should be done right the first time. And not only is the install really important, but also the products that you're putting on. You could take a lesser quality shingle, put it on a roof the right way and follow all the rules, and you could still end up with some of the same issues as if it was just done poorly. So I think that's a huge thing to mention. And like I told Randon, when we work with these guys that are flipping the houses, we still are utilizing GAF shingles and nothing else. And I think they're going to really see that benefit because not only does it they look really great on top of the roof, but also these rental houses that they can have the peace of mind that they're not going to have somebody like myself go back out there, dealing with the leak or blow offs, after 2 years or whatever it might be. And I think that gives a lot of people a selling point when it comes to, why work with Recon, and then also why use GAF. And I think product and install is so important. And I know Randon's talked about that a lot.
Okay, I kind of want to reflect back then, Mike, when you were talking about like the stains and the stuff like that. And I want to know, is there like a general reason why roofs flood or roofs leak other than a tree hitting it from the derecho? But if is there certain things that people should look at, and if they see it, then they should know to either contact Colton or call you guys or something like that?
Absolutely, yeah, and we'd mentioned already that wind-driven rain or snow at the ventilation at the ridge vents is an area to watch for in the attic. The ice and water at the eave, right? That's why they do that, because water can get under there. And then on the rakes, from there, the two biggest areas of problems are pipe boots. So those white PVC pipes that come up out the roof, the plumbing pipes, the boots that go around them, that's usually the first thing to fail in a roofing system. So that, we actually have a partner that produces a lifetime warranty boot. Costs more, but lasts forever, right? And is warranted for life. The other area for water infiltration is wherever a roof meets a wall, right? So if you're going across the roof and you come to a dormer, little box windows on the front of a house, or where the garage runs into the side wall of the house, the house is a 2-story and the garage is a 1-story. Whenever a roof meets a wall, that's a point for water infiltration. And there's flashing details that are required there. And Recon does a really nice job of making sure that those are in new or like new condition. And if not, they replace them. Homeowners, sometimes, again, back to price, they don't want to pay that extra money to have that flashing done, because sometimes you have to replace some of the siding on that wall too, right? Because it absorbs water. If there's been water penetrating that area, or a lot of times the siding's setting right down on the shingle, it'll absorb water and it damages that siding. So those are the areas that homeowners need to watch out for. The other thing that it's easy for a homeowner to look for is granules in the downspout, right? Look at where your downspout comes down and dumps out. You see a lot of the granules from the stones on top of the shingles in your downspout. That's a sign that you're losing granules, right? And it's a gradual, very gradual process over the life of a roof. That's part of how it ages, right? But if you're getting a lot of granule loss, or you get up and you look in your gutter and you have that much granule depth in the bottom of your gutter, those are warning signs for a customer to look for, because when the granules come off, then the asphalt is exposed to the sun, which causes it to dry out, crack, and split, and that shortens the life of the shingle and creates leaks. So those are the things that a homeowner can look for, other than just the visual stuff they might see from the ground, right? The cupping or curling of a shingle, shingles blowing off. That's pretty easy to see. I drive down the road, I see them every day, even in my head. So,
Mike, let me ask you this, because this is a perfect segue into my question about hail. Obviously, I could answer this question, but I want to get your perspective. Let's say brand new roof, okay, new construction, even, okay, homeowner's been there for about 2 months, smoked with hail. All right, why is it that roof is getting replaced? Because of the hail hits. And you mentioned it's a gradual process of those granules falling off. And then obviously once hail hits, it's getting exposed to more sun and going through the process like you had mentioned. Even though that's the case, why does insurance, and why is it warranted that you do get a new roof immediately?
yeah, what happens is when the hailstone strikes the roof, it drives the granules down into the asphalt. And some of the new technology, the class 4 rated shingles, or that are more hail resistant, that they have a chemical component in the asphalt that helps push that hailstone strike out. It works for minor hail strikes, right? That's the type of shingle, and the Timberline Armor Shield 2 is our top selling version of that type of technology. A home like that, because it can save them the cost of going through the roof replacement and paying their deductible. But if they don't have that type of technology, or if they do, and it was a significant hailstone size or wind speed, there's two, and the shape of the stone. So there's three really components that go into what causes damage on the roof. But most of the time, the granules get driven down into the asphalt, and that will loosen them, right? And so that can cause the granules to get washed off in the next rain or the next snow. When the snow sits on the roof and pulls those granules off, it'll expedite the granule loss and expose that asphalt like we talked about gradually, but now it's doing it in a larger chunks, right? Everywhere the hailstone strikes. The other thing that adjusters look for is an actual splitting or cracking of the mat of the shingle. Most of them won't argue with you as far as that the roof needs to be replaced. Some of them want to say that granule loss is cosmetic. It really isn't, because as we've mentioned a couple of times, the granules are what protects the asphalt. And
right, from all the heat rays and wind, and yep.
so our granules actually are different than everyone else's in that we control the processing and coring of the granules from the out of the quarries. And so our granules are diamond cut. So all our granules fit tighter together. So it's harder for the sun to get to the asphalt. That helps extend the life of the shingle.
I had an adjuster, okay, and Mike, I think you're gonna die laughing, and I hope that I am wrong and that maybe he was being right, but I think he tried pulling a fast one on me because I just let them kind of say whatever they want. And then after we've met, I just email them and make whatever was incorrect correct. Okay. So this roof had wind damage on every elevation, and it was always on the left tab. And he goes, "Have you ever heard of the left tab shingle?" I don't even know what he called it. So yeah, the left tab rule. I go, no. And he kind of looked at me like I was an idiot. I go, well, I'm not saying I'm not, but I don't know what, left shit, yeah. And he said, well, every elevation where you're picking the shingles up and you're stating is wind damage is actually not wind damage. It's actually from when the shingle gets made and the tar is obviously installed onto the shingle before it goes and gets cut to the next, it dribbles off. So then over time, when the shingles shift and change and, whatever, that the left side of the shingle just naturally starts coming up. And I was like, what? I go, I, I almost jumped off the roof. I go, you know what? I'm actually better off jumping off the roof. And I was just so shocked. And I'm gonna have to go back to. He told me, so I basically just ignored him, and I'm just gonna go take the ITEL and slap the shingle on there and showcase that it's not gonna match. Regardless, I'm gonna get the end goal, I think. But at the end, if I have to go another step, I'm literally gonna be like, okay, you can talk to GAF. I go, because that is not a thing.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 20 years. That's the first time I've ever heard that.
I actually have a question before we start wrapping things up. Since Colton was bringing up that last scene he had, last episode, Colton did mention that he has never done just patchwork in his scope of work yet. That it's always a full roof replacement. Now, so I want to know kind of like your take on that. Does the life of the roof matter in like that aspect, or is it just people just cutting corners and adjusters kind of just trying to save the insurance company's money, or how do you take that?
Well, and one of the benefits of being certified with us, like Recon, is they have access to our technology, and we actually have technical bulletins that adjusters will put a little more respect to than just the roofer saying so. Right? Takes that he said, she said out of it. It's a technical bulletin from GF Technical Services that says granule loss is not cosmetic, right? That it affects the function and the life of the shingle. So that's a value added resource that we provide to our contractors so they can help the homeowners get their roofs replaced when they need to be replaced.
Well, I can add a little bit context because this was something I was like real heated about because my first thought when I see those, it's like if you really think about the construction and install of the roof, it's almost impossible for me to not compromise the integrity of the other shingles around it. Now, can you put new sealant down? Sure. Can you throw new nails and, kind of shift and change? Sure. But at the end of the day, when I'm not only significantly, repairing multiple areas and that's not going to match, I'm also damaging other areas of the roof. And you've mentioned it, that granule loss is huge. So the amount of times I've got to be on that roof and walking around all these other non-damaged shingles, that's another thing too. So I that's a great question, Brandon, because I actually have never asked you that, but I have not done a single patch repair, not one, from the storm this year. Not like a blow off.
It's an art. It's an art in our industry. It's like Colton said, it's really challenging to get in there and be able to replace shingles in an area and not break the seals on the shingles around it. That's critical. You have to hand seal the shingles around it just to make sure that the integrity of the shingle is still there. We actually help our contractors in that if it's a let's say the adjuster says, okay, we'll do this face of the roof, but we're not doing the rest of the roof. We actually help our contractors in that scenario because our installation requirements say that the underlayments or that felt we were talking about earlier has to overlap the hips and the ridges by at least 4 inches. So now you're into the next face, and then at that point you go back to the International Building Code that says it's not acceptable to re-nail shingles on a face of a roof. So in combination, those two things help the contractor get the full roof replacement and make the customer whole.
I need to do on every adjuster call. I'm like, because there's so much he knows. Well, what's nice about having Mike is because his job is to simply be a master of like everything down to how it's made, right? And yes, I know that, but like it's not just kind of like, immediate to me. And so many times it would help me having those little tidbits because I don't like having the he said, she said fight with the adjuster because I think we're all in the same game is to indemnify our customers back to what their home used to be. But unfortunately, like Randon had mentioned, there are some, unfortunately, bad adjusters. There's some great ones. There's also good insurance companies and bad ones. But, when it comes down to it, you really just want to get to a point where you're just talking facts, right? So, like, Mike not once would have had to use an opinion. He simply just used, uh, code and then how to install properly. And you can't fight that. But when you're saying, well, I think it should be this way, well, then you can fight that. And I think that's a key thing that we've learned in trainings with him. It's like, I don't ever have to state an opinion now. I just have to share my facts. And with them being such a big player, yeah, it really is. Great question, Randon. It does.
And it takes the emotion out of it, right? You're just talking about the construction details, the installation details, and the technology that of the life of the roof, right? It takes that emotion out of it.
Which is huge for me because I get very passionate about my customers and getting them taken care of. I mean, I almost like jumped for joy last week. One of my favorite customers, they're older couple, just got them approved for a full roof, and it is hard not to be tied to that. So sharing this with other people, I think, is what we're excited about because what Randon and I know isn't common knowledge. What you know is not common knowledge. What Randon knows about the real estate blows my mind, and here I thought it was just, a house and, you just sold it, right? I mean, in our minds, that's kind of how you know everything until you either sell it, work in it, or do it yourself. So this is
I love helping these guys too. I'm in my 20th year in the industry, and I used to do what they do. So I love helping them be successful and take care of their homeowners.
All right, so just one more thing before we do start ending it up. Just want you to kind of give a brief explanation of how often you should replace a roof. You can compare your shingles compared to the other ones and your life expectancy, and then what to look for when it's about time to replace it.
Absolutely, yeah, and it varies. It varies there's a lot of factors that affect the roof, and I'll go back to our warranty a little bit too. In that we have a warranty that's lifetime with 50 years, right? A lot of homeowners get that and they think, well, my roof's going to last 50 years. No, we warranty our shingles and accessories for the best possible case scenario in the best environment that there is in the United States, right? So if you live in San Diego, you don't get the extreme heat and the extreme cold that we get here in the Midwest. That that fluctuation from hot to cold causes expansion and contraction of the shingle, then that can shorten the life of the roof. Um, how steep or the pitch of the roof makes a difference too, because a lower pitched roof holds more snow, right? Whereas a steeper roof sheds more snow. That also is affected by rain, right? How the water channels out of the rain, channels off the roof. So there's a lot of factors that go into the life of the roof, and that's just the external factors, right? Then you get to how good of quality is the shingle itself, right? Some warranties are only transferable for up to 5 years versus 20 years with ours. And the reason being is because they don't want to stand behind the shingle any longer than they have to, right? Because they know that that the shingle isn't constructed to last that long. But the average life of shingles in our market is right around 20 years. Now, I've seen roofs last 30 years. I've seen some of them be gone in 12 to 15 years. So it's a real variance. Again, all those factors that go into the quality of the shingle, and the all the environmental aspects that affect a shingle. Customers looking for that granule loss, for the shingle to start cupping and curling up on the roof. Those are the things that they know by that point. That's pretty sure. Colton, when they get up on the roof, they do a very thorough inspection, so they can find like if there's cracks or splits in the shingles, right, or granule loss that maybe it's not showing in the downspouts. So there's so 20 years is a kind of a good gauge. There are roofing materials designed to last longer. There's significantly more, right? Asphalt's your most reasonably cost roofing material. There's metal roofing and there's polymer type slate and shake look shingles out there that you can put on that last longer than asphalt, but that you're paying for it, right?
Awesome. That was great. You were great. So the last two questions that I'm going to ask all of our guests that we have are, being in real estate, we've all had crazy experiences. So what is your craziest real estate experience to date? And then just a simple one. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
My craziest real estate experience. I would have to say, so I went out and I inspected a roof, and I identified that there was a defect of the material. This is back when I was a contractor like Colton, and I called the manufacturer and reported the claim, start a warranty claim to help it was a homeowners association in Waukee, and I said, got defective shingles, need to get a claim settled so that we can get the materials and start replacing this roof. So the field inspector called and said, I want to schedule an inspection with you. So I said, yeah, no problem. I went out and I set my ladder up and I got up on the roof and was looking around at the damage I'd seen before. And he pulls up in front, gets out of his truck, and doesn't get on the ladder and come up on the roof with me. And I'm like, up here. He's walking around underneath the eave looking up. And he walks out and he says, you have an insufficient ventilation system here. The warranty's void. Doesn't matter if there's a defect of the shingle. We're not covering it because the intake ventilation was clogged. No settlement, right? That's a loophole that a lot of manufacturers use to get out of paying a claim on a defective shingle. GF doesn't do that. If there's a misapplication of the shingle or an imbalance of ventilation, we don't void our warranties. We don't use that as a loophole. So that just blew my mind that he didn't even get up on the roof and look to see what was wrong with the shingle. He was looking for the hole first. So that's a crazy story. And where would I want to live? I know it's a little crazy, but I absolutely love the Midwest, right? I've been here all my life. I lived in Arizona for a short period of time, and I really, I know this sounds crazy, but I actually missed the winter, right? You miss the change of the seasons. But if it wasn't here with my family and the change of the seasons, Hawaii for sure.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your time, Mike. And like I said before, you were fantastic. If you just want to take a second and kind of let everyone know where they can find you or reach you, you can go ahead and take the mic away.
Yeah, absolutely. Call Recon Roofing; they'll take great care of you. They can access me. If you have, I do take calls from homeowners sometimes. So somebody needs to reach out to me. Colton can get them hooked up with me via email or phone, either one. Sometimes in a situation you kind of get into a tense situation. Sometimes I like to step in and help both parties understand what needs to be done to make things right. So um, I'm happy to give you my number if you want it.
Absolutely. So basically, I am the easiest. Yeah. We're so well connected that basically the best way would be to reach out to me via text, email, and then from there I would coordinate an appointment or share contact information directly and kind of set that appointment up. But we work so closely. Yep.
I'm on social media too. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So you can always reach out there. It's a great resource. There's a lot of information out there. Um,
What is your Facebook, just in case anybody was wondering?
it's GAF Mike Gooding.
Well, you brought a lot of knowledge to the table. We appreciate it. I'm just still like, wow.
Yeah, anytime. Glad to help.
Yes, thank you very much, man. And like I said, this won't be the last. I think we'll get creative and bring back a lot of the guests and continue kind of a consistency on conversations. So I'd say this was a pretty damn good first one. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Good. Yeah, if you've got questions that you want to get answered, yeah, let me know and we'll do it again.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Thanks, Colton.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.